The following program is rated D for dumb.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. I'm Dave Canyon, your one and only solo podcast host. You ready to dumb it down? All right, that's fantastic. Welcome to the show. Dumbing It Down with Dave is the name of the show. My name is Dave Canyon. I am your pragmatic podcaster, bringing you pragmatism, the only podcast that I know of that mentions it anywhere in the world. I don't hear it too often. I hear minimalism. I hear other things, but I don't hear the word pragmatism or pragmatic a lot. And for a lot of people, that's not very exciting. For a lot of people, it's not very interesting. And I try not to, hit people over the head with it. Like a religious person might, hit me over the head with Christianity or anything else, whatever the choices may be. But it is a part of my life, and it's not exactly very well defined. It's not something. There are definitions of pragmatism and being pragmatic, and I know a lot of people roll their eyes, when they hear me say it or maybe anybody else say it. I don't. Not just because it's good for me doesn't mean it's going to be good or great for you. So it's not that type of show where it's all about that, but it is a focus of my life since a therapist mentioned it to me. I think about 20 some odd years ago. And had mentioned to me, hey, Dave, one of the reasons why you have all these issues with people and things in the world is because you're a pragmatic. And these other things that happen, whether it be bells and whistles or whether it be repetition of some sort, going back to the dry well or whatever it is, it eventually it annoys me. It bothers me. I have an issue with it. And it's because, she said I'm a pragmatic. And this affects everything that I say and do, and my interactions with people, my interactions with the world. So that's what it is. That's what I have. I don't have a certain area of expertise that I can share with you. I'm not the greatest mechanic in the world. I'm not a mechanic at all. I'm not really that great with finances, so I can't share with you that. Actually, what I should be doing is giving you examples of shows you could listen to if you wanted to hear that. For instance, I can't write great scientific, sci-fi comedy. If you want to hear great sci-fi comedy, in the vein of Monty Python or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, of course you would go with Awesome Insanity Surfers. Go with them. Go with Linda Irwin's Awesome Insanity Surfers. She's writing some great shows. If you want to hear what it's like to be a single dad, you might go to No Sitting on the Sidelines Dad with Joe Foley. If you want to hear live talk, you might want to go to Alex Exum, who does the voice at the top of the show. AlexExum.com, ALEXEXUM. He has live talk every Tuesdays at 10 o'clock. He doesn't plug my show. I didn't buy him a special microphone like other people did and, help him do his Halloween show. Who cares that I've been plugging his show for, consistently now for about 3 years or whatever it is since he's been doing the intro to the show. Always giving him a lot of time, mentioning the website, AlexExum.com, mentioning any of his shows that he does, especially when he was doing Exum Experience and all that. But, I'm not worthy of a return promo. That's okay. But, somebody buys him a microphone so he can do some silly show, for Halloween one time in the year, and bam, that guy's his favorite. And there's no mention of me. No return respect. Dave, that sounds bitter. You're starting off, you're 4 minutes into the show. Did you mention it was October 29th and it's 6:40 or whatever, 6 o'clock, and you're on your way to work nice and late because you were doing laundry at the last minute because you sat home for 3 days and didn't do any laundry? Actually, a day and a half. Did you mention that you would sit there with your wife in your underwear watching Fixer Upper, waiting for the laundry to dry? No, you didn't mention that. But you went straight to bitter. Yeah, no, I'm not bitter. I'm just saying it's interesting to me how people respond and behave. I'm out here plugging away. I got my little show. I do it in my caravan my Caravan. It used to be my Honda Fit. I'm on the New York State Thruway. I'm on my way to work. I'm going to do 5 nights in a row. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. 5 nights in a row of truck driving here in New York State. Partially in New Jersey, Long Island. I might go to Vermont. Who knows? I might go to New Hampshire. Who knows? I don't think I'm going to go east into Connecticut or Boston. Massachusetts. I don't think that's going to happen this week. I don't think I'm going to go into Pennsylvania. I think I'm going to go pretty much south every day into New Jersey and Long Island. Pretty much. I might go west. Who knows? Into Syracuse or Rochester, New York. But no, I didn't want to go straight to bitter. I waited a couple of minutes. And I'm not bitter. I'm just saying it's interesting to listen to people respond to other people. And here, here I am being taken for granted. Promoing. Yeah, promoing. The ing of promos. Yeah, other people's shows. And do they promo my show? No. You know why? I don't know. Selfishness, jealousy. Could be a myriad of things. Or it could be they're just absent-minded. Or it's not in their core to be generous. It's in my core to be generous. I'm generous as I can until I get burnt. And then when I get burnt, I pull back. I go, oh, I see. We're a one-way street. Okay. So I pull back. And I know a lot of my shows, like this last show I did, I tend to be, whether full of anxiety or, anger or resentment but you know what? My daily walk is I walk with a smile. I walk with a hand out. I walk with a hand up. I walk with a pat on the shoulder. I walk with my eyes open like, okay, I'm here ready to engage. I'm ready to engage with other people. And when people are as generous as Linda from Awesome Insanity Service, that's great. When people are as generous as Pat Mason, who's been writing these comments and talks to me when he sees me and always says nice things about the show, that's great. When Joe Foley from the No Sitting on the Sidelines dad, reaches out and says nice things and does, he did some audio for us. By the way, the AI voices you hear are also from Linda, Awesome Insanity Service. Thank you, Linda, for all those voices that she's been, the AI voices. I enjoy them. And recently she just added Zartran, which was, and she actually put in the comments where Zartran is from and all that other stuff, because I didn't know. So it's nice. It's nice when people contribute to the show. Does it make this show a huge success? No, it adds a little spice. It's a little spice. I've tried to contribute to Joe's show. Joe has a thing called Speak Pipe, the No Sitting on the Sidelines dad. And I've called into that. You leave a little message. I'm also on Mile High Radio, for those of you that don't know. Every Monday at 11 o'clock, 11 to noon, they play an hour of Dumbing It Down with Dave on Mile High, HIRadio.com. Mile High, HIRadio.com. And I don't put out these promos like, blah, 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 hey, I slow down. Because I listen to a lot of shows and I go, what did he just say? I have no idea what he just said. So I slow down and I give people their proper due. I have a new buddy of mine that I met at Podcast Movement down in Orlando, 2019, Podcast Movement 19, Hal Aaron, Aaron, Hal Aaron, from Philadelphia, Hal in Philly. That's the handle he goes by, Hal in Philly. And he does a show called Tales of the Road Warriors. Tales of the Road Warriors. It's not a trucking show, of course. It's not of course, but it's not a trucking show. It's a music show where he talks to musicians that are on the road. I'm assuming most of them are on the road. They're either calling in from the road or they're road musicians. They're people that, that they go for the gig. They travel for the gig. So if you get a chance, check out Tales of the Road Warriors. TALES of the Road Warriors. You can find them on Apple Podcasts, I think. And a lot of places. Libsyn is where he hosts it, but you don't have a Libsyn app. So it's out there. Oh, yeah, Himalaya. One of his favorite places for people to catch the show is Himalaya. And he interviews musicians, and he does a great job. And Hal's a nice guy. We had a nice conversation yesterday. Hal's a nice guy, and he's created some audiograms for me. I can't really play them on here. It wouldn't make sense. But I'll be using them in my social media. And speaking of social media, thanks to Pauline in the Philippines. Pauline in the Philippines is creating a little bit of a stir out there in the internet world with social media, my posts. She's taking care of my Facebook, my Instagram, and my Twitter. And she's out there creating and distributing my social media because I have no time for it, and I wouldn't know what to do anyway. So thank you very much to Pauline, doing a great job there in the Philippines. Very dutiful woman, getting the work done. I really appreciate that. It's fantastic. All right, so who else can I mention? I just want to give some plugs out. Dave, this isn't very interesting. All you're doing is mentioning people you know. Well, it's not just that. I'm giving you a little sense of my relations with people. This has always been a human behavior show. If I mention something, it's all because there's humans involved. There's something involving humanity. And I like to think I'm a great study of humanity. That doesn't mean I know anything. It just means I observe it. But Dave, we're out in the world too. You know, we observe humanity. Yeah, a lot of people observe humanity, but they don't do a podcast. The trick here is I do a podcast about it. And so I'm telling you about my interactions with people. I'm telling you about the way I feel. I'm telling you about the way I think people react to me, and so on and so forth. And sometimes it's very interesting. Sometimes it's not so interesting. But I just want to share that with you. And sometimes I say things and people say, oh, yeah, you know what? I didn't realize. It's the same thing for me. You know, whatever it is that I said, oh, yeah, I had the same experience. And it's interesting that you said something. So, anyway, let's... Oh. Oh, hi, Zartran. Oh, did you hear that? He made this... He made the slurpy noise. Yeah, okay, it's time for a drink break is what Zartran was trying to say. So, everybody, if you want some time, take some time, have a drink. My mouth is dry. All right. I just paused the show a little bit here on my end. I didn't want to waste valuable recording time listening to me slurp water. But thank you, Zartran, for that reminder. Anyway, yeah, my mouth is really dry. I think I had a lot of dry water, mouth-drying food today. Some pasta, sauce, meatballs, and, you know, other bread products. I didn't really do good on my diet when I was home. It's always my weak spot when I come home. I just want to relax and have a good weekend. And I definitely did some sleeping and definitely got some rest. So that's good. A couple of days of that might help me out for the next 5 days. I wonder if there's anybody else's podcast. I know I've listened to a show called Sweet Truth Media. I've listened to that. That was interesting. I didn't listen last week. Last week was a nice week of driving around in silence. So, unfortunately, as my show is getting a little bit more popular, and I should be listening to a lot of podcasts, I feel like more often than not, I like driving around in silence. And that's unfortunate. Maybe I'll snap out of it, you know, as I keep on exercising with Dave's Fit Life. By the way, my YouTube channel, Dave's Fit Life. And you can find out about a lot of these things at davecanyon.com, Kanyan. davecanyon.com is the brand new website. It's beautiful. I always forget to mention, sometimes I forget to mention that I'm the Pragmatic Podcaster, but I also forget to mention that Dumbing It Down with Dave is powered by, you know, the website is powered by PodPub, P-O-D-P-U-B. P-O-D-P-U-B. Thank you, Andy. Andy Wilkerson. Andy in the Wild is his show. Andy in the Wild, and he does PodPub, and he created the Dave Canyon Dumbing It Down with Dave, Dave's Fit Life website, where you can go, you can sign up for the newsletter. I didn't check this week. I don't know how many of you signed up. What do you have to do to sign up? Well, you just go to the contact page, I think it is. Or is it the About page? Or is it the home page? I think it's on the home page. In the middle of the home page, you just sign up, and put in your email address, and you get a newsletter. And if I get around to it, you'll get about one a month. So I appreciate that. Let's get that subscribership up. It's a good way to stay in touch with me when I start reaching out to people. It won't be more than once a month. There's really not much, you know, personal appearances if I start making them, or a little update on shows you might have missed, some links. So this way it's all right there in the newsletter. And of course, you know, newsletters, how they go. You subscribe, you can unsubscribe, you could delete them, you can open them and read them or not. Maybe I'll find a way to make them something special. And ultimately, nowadays, one of the biggest things about newsletters, you know, when you subscribe, is that if, God forbid, I should be deplatformed, you'll be able to stay in touch. I'll have a way to stay in touch with you, you know, with the newsletter. So you never know. It could happen. I could say something one of these episodes, and Spreaker throws me off, iTunes, whoever. I don't know. You never know where Dumbing It Down with Dave is going to go. What is this, episode 164, 165? It's amazing. I was holding back how many episodes ago. I didn't want to do episode 100. And here it is. I'm already like past 150, past 160. Another milestone episode. I've never been this far with my podcast before. Never been to episode 164, 165. It's fantastic. So, what did I do this weekend? Did I mention I mentioned all the shows? Yeah, Hal Aaron, my buddy Jason Juliet. He does the Jason Juliet podcast. He's got some interesting shows out there where he interviews interesting people, and he goes on the road and he does that. He should probably be on the Tales of the Road Warriors because he's a bit of a road warrior. And he just moved to Puxatawney from Philly. Moved out of Philly's in Puxatawney. Congratulations, Jason, living in Puxatawney. What else is there? That's it for promos. I can't think of anybody else. Oh, Gail Nobles. Gail Nobles does a great show. You can look for her in Spreaker, Gail. Gail Nobles, Into the Music, Nobles. Thank you, Gail. All right, so this weekend, what I do, you know what? I did a lot of relaxing. I was good for Monday. Monday, I got a good sleep. You know what's interesting? I'll tell you about the sleep that I've been getting recently. Maybe it's the exercise. I don't really know. I'm going to attribute to that because that's the only thing that's really changed is exercising again. Is that when I wake up from the sleep, I'm not nearly as tired as I've been waking up and I'm still tired. And I have this brain fog. Well, it's not just the sleep, it's also the nutrition. So, yeah, it's that. It's several things. So let's talk about that. I'm waking up, I'm not feeling like I have a brain fog. Not nearly as bad. Not nearly as bad. I mean, there are times I wake up, I put my feet on the ground when I wake up at my house, and I put my head in my hands. I put my hands are the elbows on my knees. I sit there and go, oh, this isn't right. This just isn't right. This is not the way I'm supposed to feel when I wake up. This is something really new. In the last couple of years, really new. And it snuck up on me. You might remember once upon a time I shared an experience where my CPAP had a leak. The mask had a leak. And I didn't realize that. So when I woke up, I wasn't really feeling that great because it wasn't doing its job as well as it should have because there was a leak. It was like a pinhole leak. And it was enough to not let me get great sleep. So I eventually replaced that mask. And now I have the mini CPAP, which I use as my one CPAP. I don't even use the old CPAP anymore. I have it. It's right there. I can plug it in. But the mask has this leak. I've replaced the mask, but it's since now developed another leak. So eventually, I got to call the insurance company, which I should have done yesterday or today, because now that my wife has this new job, we have new benefits. I'm off the benefits from my company here that I work for, the dairy company. So I have to find out what I'm entitled to. I don't even know what the new deal is, but I got to replace these masks. They say you're supposed to replace them every 3 to 6 months. I don't know if I know when I first got the CPAP, they told me, yeah, just your insurance company covers it. Every 3 months, you get a whole new tube, you get a new mask, you get new filters, everything new. And I was like, you know what? I think you guys just are really into making this money, or that whole. I mean, what are you going to do with the old stuff? It's not recyclable. The tube is rubber or whatever, plastic, and the mask, it's all plastic and rubber, and they just want me to discard it, even though it works. But they say I'm entitled to a new, whatever it is, the new package. And by the way, everything comes in plastic, in a plastic bag, comes in a cardboard box with, the package, peanuts or some sort of filler. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of stuff. And I'm as environmentally conscious as I need to be, as I want to be. I'm not over the top environmentally conscious. I am aware. I do open up my garbage can and look down and go, wow, there's a lot of waste in here. There's a lot of stuff that I just as soon have not purchased and not send it out into the environment. I'm not over the top with changing my life just yet, but I am aware of it. So when they told me 10 years ago, whatever it was, hey, you're entitled to this, this, and this, and I said, that seems like an excessive amount of change, every 3 months to change. So I never really went that far, that fast. I never did that. Seems like a lot. I think what I do, I almost said do, I think what I do is I might go too long now. Now I go like 6 months to a year. Or I just wait for a leak, and then I go to replace it. So I got to find that sweet spot. It's a word I've been using a lot lately. A sweet spot in my finances, a sweet spot in my work hours, a sweet spot in my mask replacement. You know, when you have a CPAP, it definitely changes everything. You have to pay attention to what's going on. So for those of you who are CPAP users, maybe you understand what I'm talking about. And for those of you who are not, you might be going, oh, this is the most boring show. First he plugs everybody, then he takes the drink break, which is the most exciting part of the show, but we don't even get to hear that because he puts it on pause. And now he's talking about a CPAP. Well, it's a facet of my life, and it has to work, because if it doesn't work, Dave's going to get really tired and depressed, and you know what? I don't know where that could eventually lead. I might as well say it because I've said it before. You know, when I really am sleep deprived, not even really sleep deprived, but when I'm slightly sleep deprived, I'm a different person. You know, that's supposed to be the return show. The return show is I'm supposed to be sleep deprived in the return show and tired, but I have been feeling better. So there have been several shows where I said I'm not as tired as usual. I'm not as depressed. I'm not as sad. I'm not as angry. And I'm not, although this past Sunday I was kind of pissed off, but I was energetically pissed off. And I was in my right to be pissed off because this guy acknowledged my existence and then he walked away and he kept me waiting for half an hour. And then at the end of all that, he really had nothing to offer me and it was just a complete waste of time. But yeah, I've spoken about suicide on the show. It's a very sensitive subject for many people because as soon as I say it, supposedly, whoa, what is he talking about? Whoa. And then it just takes one person to describe the show incorrectly. Oh, Dave was talking about suicide. And then somebody goes, what? He's suicidal? Yeah. And then, you know, no. I'm telling you that that person could or could not be me, can get so sleep deprived enough, whatever that number is, different for me than it is for you probably, and different for everybody because we're all individuals, right? So all it does is take a certain amount of lack of sleep deprivation, brain degradation. Then you get a little sad, you get a little depressed, you get a little bit angry. The thoughts creep into your head. And there was a while there where it was really bad. I forget how many years ago. And I had no idea my mask had a leak. Because it crept up on me. And I didn't recognize the noise as something different. It wasn't like I heard a pop. You know how like when you're driving down the road and you have a flat tire? Pop. Oh, okay. All right, guess what? I just almost did a Denzel Washington. I almost did Jamie Foxx doing Denzel Washington. All right, okay. All right, all right. Okay. Supposedly that's Denzel Washington. All right, okay. All right, okay. And then you hear that pop, bam, up, flat tire. But when you're driving down the road and all of a sudden, you know, you don't hear any pop and like, the car feels a little sluggish. Oh, why is it pulling? Oh, the car's pulling to the right. Oh, or to the left or whatever. Oh, wait a minute, what's that wobble? Uh-oh. And all of a sudden, you know, it creeps up on you. And then you pull over and you go, oh, I got a flat tire. I didn't hear it blow. Maybe was it low when I left? I didn't really check. I don't always check my 4 tires when I leave. It's one of those things. So the CPAP sometimes will creep up on you. You go, uh-oh. You know, that's no good. So anyway, yeah, I got to, I can't say 100% I remember what I was just talking about. But, I mean, I have been feeling better. And the CPAP, the mini CPAP is working good. And I'm using that at home. And so that with the exercise, I think is helping me. That with the exercise and wearing earplugs when I sleep, especially when I'm doing Dave's Fit Life, and I'm sleeping in the Walmart parking lot or the Planet Fitness parking lot or whatever. And the nutritional change that I've made where I'm not ingesting all these carbs or this bread or this sugar, way more veggies and water and apple cider vinegar and, my protein drink and things like that. I'm not meditating yet. I think that's going to be really important. I keep on saying we're going to do it and I don't do it. And I'll say to you right now, I'll try to do it tonight. I hope I do it. My phone is ready for it to be done. I just got to do it. And I always walk away feeling better. I just don't know why I don't do it. It's only 10 minutes. It's not a lot of work. You're basically, I'm already, like if I do it in the truck tonight, I'm already there. I'm already in the truck. I don't have to get out of the truck. I don't have to put on my meditation gear. It's this phone. It's the same phone I do the podcast with. I just got to go to the app, hit the button, and go to, fundamentals, whatever. You can go to focus. There's all these different categories. And then, boom, you hit the button, you start meditating. It's that simple. It's really that simple. And it's 10 minutes. And this guy Andy talks to you. I guess maybe now you can choose another voice. But this guy Andy talks to you and he walks you through it. And I've done it before. I've done the first free ones, the first 10 ones 100 times. 1,000 times. How many times I've done the first 10. And then I like it so much I go on to the 20-minute one or the 30-minute one. I've made a lot of progress with this. And then I fell backwards. I stopped doing it for some reason. Momentum. And I've talked about that before. To make sure I get enough sleep, enough rest. So I wake up and I have, my discipline. So I can achieve things, so I can have a better attitude. So I can, be more consistent, momentum, all that stuff. I've already forgotten all the initials and things that I said in the last previous shows. But I do need to keep that all up. It's amazing I didn't write it down. Now I have to go back and listen because I already forgot what I talked about. I try not to be this guy that repeats himself, although I know a lot of you are going, really? You try not to repeat yourself? Dave, this whole show is a repeat. Well, listen, things are going okay in my life. You want me to do a show about me being angry? Angry? Yeah, I'm still angry at the whole political landscape of this country as to how they're all behaving. But you really need me to talk about that? Because I have no solution to bring to the table for that. If I could bring you a solution to the table, except they all need to do the same thing I'm doing. They all need to start exercising and eating better and meditating and getting better sleep and being more clear about how to behave. And work together to make this country a working country as opposed to just looking for the worst in everybody and tearing everybody down. This guy's in power, the other side does the tear down. The tear down side gets in power, then the other side does. It's really difficult for me to watch. And I know you all, if not most of you, feel the same way. You feel slightly disenfranchised, largely disenfranchised, and you're so sick of the United States government. And you're sick of the media covering the government. Because it's just day after day of the soap opera. And it doesn't change. And we just keep on asking the same questions, but there's no answers. And we just keep on poking at the same place, and there's no answers. We waste a lot of time. So there, you got a little bit of your government, talk from Dave Canyon. Little life there. Pop culture, I haven't really watched any movies to talk about. I found a little sitcom called Corner Gas. Corner Gas. It's a Canadian show. I think it's about 10 years old now. It's actually very funny. It's there's a comedian. I think his name is Brent Butt. Brent Brent is his last name. Brent Butt, and yeah, that's his name. And he wrote this sitcom called Corner Gas. It's actually very funny. It's got like 5 seasons. I just finished season 1, and it's funny. It's an enjoyable. It's as good as any sitcom that's on now. Is it Seinfeld funny? I wouldn't say it's Seinfeld funny. I wouldn't say it's Friends funny, but it's Wings funny. If you remember Wings from back in the day, it's a funny show. It's got good characters, and it's got these little stories, and it's a half hour. It's good enough, and it's free, and it's I think I'm watching it from Prime, Amazon Prime, or something like that. I don't even know. It's not Netflix. So there you go. A little TV recommendation, a little government show. Can I offer you any nutritional advice? Yeah, eliminate the sugar. Get rid of, slow down with the sugar. If you can't get rid of it, slow it down. Find alternatives. No sugar. Caffeine. Try to eliminate the caffeine. Things like that. I actually was going to stop and get a coffee on the way into work today. I decided not to. I just have my little water bottle here. You hear that? I'm getting thirsty just thinking about it. And so there you go. That's the show. That's 30 minutes of Dumbing It Down with Dave. And I really appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you guys stop at the website. Sign up for the newsletter. I'd like to get the newsletter going. And also, if you could go to YouTube, Dumbing It Down with Dave. I could use some subscribers at Dumbing It Down with Dave. All right? That'd be great. I appreciate your support. Thank you for listening, guys. It's not one of those shows. It's one of those other shows. But we did the best we could, and I did a show. All right? Talk to you later. Thank you for listening to this episode of Dumbing It Down with Dave. Goodbye, good day, good night, good luck, good riddance, good rats, Godspeed, and great skills. Take care.